Okay, hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Victor. So welcome to the stream. So this is the digital forensics training. So it's going to be a 3 days training. We are live now. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. And you can also share to cybersecurity analysts or enthusiasts, persons interested in doing digital forensics. So it's going to be an awesome 3 days hands-on training. So let's allow a few moments for others to join us before we continue. So if you're on the stream, you can tell us your name, tell us where you're connecting from, so that we can get to know you. Tell us your name, tell us where you're connecting from. So I'm Victor, and I also have Innocent on co-hosting this particular hands-on labs. So 2 more minutes before we kickstart. Okay, 1 more minute. Don't forget to like the video and share to training groups or persons interested in doing digital forensics. Okay, welcome, Benedict. You're connecting from Abuja. Welcome. Welcome, Adibanjo from Ogun State. You're welcome. Welcome to Jehoshaphat, connecting from Jos. Welcome, Matthew from Ogun State and Williamson from Abuja. Okay, 1 minute more and we're going to start. You can also let us know what you will be interested in learning. We have about 10 tools we're going to be considering in the next 2 days. You can let us know other things that might interest you that you want us to touch. Welcome, Muji from Lagos. And also, this group, the live chat will be an avenue for you to let us know any questions you have. If you have questions in regards to the tools we are using or all of the things we're going to be considering the next 2 days, you can let us know. I'm going to also be dropping later on the 10 tools we're going to be considering the next 2 days. So in the next 2 days, we're going to be considering autopsy. We're going to be considering FTK Man Imager, then OpenStego, OpenStego for steganography, then Wireshark, Virus Total, Sucuri. Sucuri is a web scanning vulnerability assessment tool. You can also use it to tell something that has already happened on the website. I've used it to like look at forensics for websites that have been hacked to see what was responsible and the rest. Then we're going to be looking at bulk extractor, then sysinternals tools, quite a lot of tools you have in there. Then gparted, then binary hex converter. Then if we have time, we're going to be looking at some other tools like the OSINT framework and the rest. Okay, I think it's a good time to start. I'm going to be sharing my screen. Okay, Izzy from Owerri, Imo, Moses from South Africa, ABK Ya from Nigeria. Okay, if you're seeing my screen and you're seeing the Digital Forensic Practical Handbook, you can just make a comment in the live chat that you actually seen the Digital Forensics Practical Handbook so that I can write down my introduction. I'll be doing my introduction for about 5 minutes or 10, then I'll hand over to Innocent to start the hands-on labs. Okay, so welcome to the channel. My name is Victor, and I'm going to be anchoring this section with Mr. Innocent. It's good to start the training by saying that when we want to do digital forensics, we're trying to understand what has happened in the past, right? Good, awesome, Alawal. Thank you, you can see my screen. So we want to understand what has happened in the past. So digital forensics is an aspect of cybersecurity that has to do with you understanding what has happened before, after an incident. So there might be a hack, there might be a cyber breach, there might be something that has been stolen. So we want to understand what has happened before. So in the next 10 minutes, I want to do a basic introduction of what digital forensics is all about. Then I will scan through this handbook for you so that you can see the content. And it makes sense for you to go through this handbook and also go through the channel, go to the videos that has been done on this handbook. Then I'll also introduce, tell you about different types of intelligence gathering. Now, you need to understand as a forensic expert that, or an analyst, so to say, for a beginner or for somebody intermediate level, that there are different ways you can actually gather intelligence. There are quite a lot of ways you can gather intelligence. So an open source intelligence gathering is just one of those ways you can gather intelligence, right? So we're going to examine some of these different forms of intelligence, like HUMINT, SIGINT, IMINT, MASINT. We'll also look at OSINT. So our focus is going to be on open source intelligence gathering. Once I introduce that to you, I will talk briefly on the open source intelligence gathering framework, where we want to know who is behind the particular email address, who is behind the phone number, who is behind a username, who is behind a website, who is behind all of that. Once I'm done with that, then we will now start examining the tools. We're going to be looking at Wireshark, Virus Total. We're going to be looking at FTK Imager and quite a lot of tools. So I think it's best we take a ride on now. Okay, let's look at the Digital Forensics Practical Handbook. So it has, I wrote this manual about a year ago for students that are interested in doing digital forensics. Now, one thing you should understand is that digital forensics covers several areas. We might want to do digital forensics for a website. That's to say that we want to know what happened to a website, or we want to know why we have a hack happen on a website, or we want to know what happened on a network, or who was responsible for doing something on a network or in a network. Now, one thing you should also understand is that digital forensics comes as not as an offensive kind of security measure. It's actually defensive. it then means that it's something you do after an event has happened. So if you are reading the guide lays some types of basic introduction about the tools, legal implication of what you are trying to do. Then you should understand that basic idea about web, mobile, network, operation system is very key, because any type of forensics that is going to happen is going to be based out of something that's happened on the software or on the network, right? So there are different aspects of digital forensics. You can say, okay, my interest is in cloud forensics, or my interest is in web forensics, or my interest is in network forensics. If your interest is in network forensics, it then means that if something happens on the network, you're able to get that kind of intelligence. You're able to gather such kind of intelligence and either present it in the court of law, or you present it for internal decision-making by maybe a board or maybe by a team or any of other persons that are going to take decisions. You also have email forensics. So you have all of those things explained in this guide. Now, you need to understand that before you do a forensic, you need to prepare for it. You don't just start doing forensics because there's what we call chain of custody. You want to make sure that every evidence that you want to have, it's presentable, especially in the law court, or it's presentable you can present it to a board, in the sense that you want to make sure that whatever evidence you have, it's as it is when that particular thing happened and has not been tampered with. So that's where you're going to learn about chain of custody, some of the tools you require, some of the hardware and software, understanding hex number, then some different forensics distribution. But in the course of this training, we're going to be using the Kali Linux framework to do some of the forensics we're going to be doing. And also we're going to be using some basic Windows tools to do these forensics. Now, you need to also understand file systems. Why? Because when you're doing forensics, you're trying to know what happened behind the scene, right? So things like boot sequence. How did my PC boot from BIOS up to desktop and all of that? So you see all of those fundamentals explained in this guide. Then cryptography, password cracking, steganography. Steganography has to do with hiding files. Welcome Francis from Ghana. Welcome Onyekachi from Lagos. Welcome Mohammed. Welcome Jehoshaphat and the rest. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. And you can also share and like the video so that others can be aware of this training. So it's a 2 days training. I'm trying to do a 10 minutes introduction. Then we're going to start considering all of the tools. Now, acquiring data and preserving evidence, very, very important, because any evidence that you have, you want to make sure that you can actually preserve it and you can actually deploy it. I will talk briefly about setting up your lab before we move to the hands-on sessions. Now, these are some of the tools you can use for digital forensics. There are quite a lot of them. So you have Autopsy, VMware, Hex Workshop, DCF LDD, Volatility Foundation, FTK Major, but we're going to be focusing on quite a few of them. Binary Hex Converter, GParted, Sysinternals tool, Buck Extractor, Security, Versatile, Wireshark, OpenStego, FTK Major. Like I said, if I have time, I'm going to be considering this all-important OSINT framework tool that you can use to do digital forensics. Okay, that's about this guide. So that's what you have in this document, and you have the explanation on the channel. Most of us have this link. So if you are new to the channel, you can go to my handle. It's youtube.com/VictorChidi. You click on the playlist and look for this playlist. That's where you have all of the content properly explained. Now, we have different ways intelligence can be gathered. Now, there's HUMINT, there's SIGINT, there's IMINT, there's MASINT, there's OSINT. And when I want to focus on open source intelligence gathering. So when you say open source intelligence gathering, you're talking about intelligence that you get that is already publicly available. Most of the times when you are using some of these tools, you are using them in the sense that that information is on the web. It can be on a website. It can be somebody's username, right? It can be somebody's email address. It can be somebody's domain name, the website's name. It can be an IP address. You want to actually gather intelligence. You want to know who is behind, what is behind any of the digital assets. Okay, so I think that explains some of the fundamentals you need to know about digital forensics. We're going to look at this tool on the last day, if time permits us. But I will hand over the screen now to Mr. Innocent so that we can start the hands-on. And don't forget, if you have to do some of these labs, you need to like set up your environment. So one of the things you want to have is you want to have VMware or Oracle VirtualBox installed, VMware or Oracle VirtualBox installed. In the group this night, when we open the training group, if you have challenge trying to set up your environment, we can put you through. So you need to have VMware, this virtualization software. So virtualization is a way that you can set up an environment that is a make-believe environment. So I'm running a Windows PC. This Windows PC is a Core i3, 1 terabyte hard disk and 20 gig RAM system. So it's not a Linux system. Neither is a let's say it's a Mac system or is it a Windows 10 or Windows 7 system? No, it's a Windows 11 system. So that's my configuration. When I virtualize, I'm trying to say that I want to run another operating system in this environment. So the first thing you do, so it's something like this. So virtualization. So it's something like this. So virtualization is something like this. So what you do is that you have your hardware, right? Then you have your operating system, which is my own system now. That is what was it called? That is my Windows 11. What I now do is that, okay, I think this image doesn't explain it so well. Let me get a better operating system. Good. Okay, I think this explains it very well. So this is my hardware. So this is my host operating system. That is my Windows 11. What I now do is that I now install a hypervisor. So examples of hypervisors are like your Hyper-V, your Oracle VirtualBox, your VMware. Those are softwares that can help you virtualize, right? For instance, in my system, I have VMware. I also have Oracle VirtualBox. If you have any of these softwares, that means that you can implement Kali, you can implement Backtrack, you can implement Mac, you can implement Metasploitable, you can implement quite a lot of frameworks to help you do your digital forensic and set up your lab. So once you have your hypervisor, like in my case, VMware, I can now start adding operating systems. Like in my case now, I have my VMware. I can now start adding Kali Linux, Black Hat, Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, whatever. I can start adding several operating systems. So if you need help actually trying to set up your lab environment, in the training group, you can make such comments. I will provide a detailed guide for that. Okay, I think this is the best time to move over to Mr. Innocent so that you can start the hands-on labs.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on when you're watching from. So today we'll be looking at these 5 tools. Okay. I know we've seen most of these tools in our previous labs, but this is forensics. Okay, so most of these tools will be required. Let's say you want to examine your packets, right? You want to see you want to analyze your network traffic, right? As a forensic investigator, Wireshark can come in handy, right? Or if you get a suspicious link, right, or a suspicious file, VirusTotal can come in handy. and then the list goes on and on. So there are some tools that are needed, right, for forensic investigation. So I wonder which one we should start with first. Okay, let's just go with let me open my Kali as the spirit leads. Windows is already open, but I want to also open my Kali Linux because most of the tools will be running, it's already pre-installed there. So we just have to start it up. Okay. Then this is my machine. This is Kali Linux, Debian based. So before you be able to work in the Kali environment, you need to understand your Linux commands. So if you are new, or if you've not seen our previous videos, you should go and check them out, okay? You should really go and check them out. So, okay. Right. I've been practicing a lot with some of a couple of tools. So let's see. All right. Since we are getting OpenStego, I think let's start with it first, right? Actually, OpenStego is not just for Linux. If you see here, look at the official GitHub link here. So if you come down, you'll see they also have a .exe file here for a Windows machine. Okay, so you can just do like this: OpenStego GitHub link, right? And then you should be directed to the GitHub link here. Okay, and then you just click on it, and then you'll be here, right? So all you have to do is just download. If you're using Windows, you download your exe file. Because I'm using Linux, I already downloaded the .deb, okay, for the Debian package. And then if I come to my downloads, I do pwd cd downloads, cd, if I can type downloads. Okay, you will see this OpenStego. And how do you install a .deb package? You can use dpkg. First of all, you call on sudo dpkg -i and like this. And then once you press enter, it asks for your password, you key it in. And then it sets it up for you, right? And then we are good to go. So all I have to do now is just to call OpenStego, and then we get this, nice graphical user interface, right? So this is OpenStego. It's used for it's a steganography tool, okay? So when I say steganography, I mean if you should be able to hide information, hide messages, in files. For example, you hide text messages, you hide messages inside pictures, inside images. So we're going to see this now. First of all, I want to create a text file. This is why I always use the ampersand so that I will be able to use my screen. Okay. Let me open on that launcher here. My shift is still disturbing me. So let's say I want to create a text file. Let's say touch file.txt. This is an empty file, and then I want to echo random text. Okay. Or let me say random secret text, right? I want to send it to, if I can, I want to send it to file, right? And if I do file, you should see my random secret text, right? It's in our downloads, pwd, you get this. It's in our downloads. So if you notice, I am not explaining my commands. These are basically not commands. And you should check up our YouTube channel where I explained these commands in detail, okay? So you should check up our YouTube channel, check it up to to be to be conversant with these commands. So this is our file.txt. What I want to do now is I want to pull up an image. Let me look for a fine image of, let me say, a car image. Let's see. If you have any beautiful car image. I love the red one. Let's see. Let me just save it, even though it might be in small, tiny formats. Let's just save it like that. This is an example, okay? I wonder why this is slow this time around. So what should I call it as? Car. Okay, give it a sec, give it a sec. My internet is kind of slow now because of our weather is not so friendly. Okay. I wonder why it's not going. Give me a second. So let's see downloads. Okay, it's here. You can see it, right? Though it's in small, tiny format, but no worry, this is just for demonstration purpose. So now I want to select my message. Okay, let me see. I want to hide this my very secret text. Okay, this random secret text. I want to hide it inside this image. How can we do that? Okay, let me select my message and then go to downloads, if I can find it. And then where's our file? Okay, this is our message file, and then our image car. Okay, so what else now? Let's select our outputs. Let's save it as this, and then, and also should I call it? I'll call it car2.jpg. Okay, so if I now it's asking for password, and then let me just say 34, another password, then hide the data. Okay, give me a second. I'm supposed to hide it. So output car. Please, I hope you're not broken. 34. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Let's just find directly. Why do you look for PNG?
Okay, I think maybe a network issue. Are you back? Let's just wait a moment. Maybe he has a network issue. Few moments, and okay, start sharing his screen. Okay.
I told you my network is kind of bad here. Because of the weather. So
let's see if you can let's see if you can ride on.
Okay.
We're still seeing your screen.
All right. So let me try to download another image without PNG. BMW. Oh, Cool. JPEG. Give it a sec. So most of these tools are very basic, pretty easy to use. If this one disturbs us, I'll just go to my Wireshark immediately and analyze packets, get our hands dirty. Okay, give me a second. I don't want to have anything to do with privacy concerns. Okay, free PNG. Wow, where are they taking me to? My internet is not open matters. Okay. Let's see if I have another image in my system. I can't be waiting for this to load. Okay. Let me look for another image. Let's see. Okay. Let's discover. I think this is one of. Okay. I'm going to use this image. I was playing with network a while ago. This is my internal IP. So let me try to hide data within this image. Let's see if it will work. Okay. So let's discover. So let me now select Net Discover instead of this one. So let's see, Net Discover. So this is a PNG, and then the output should be, let me say, let's see, that's PNG, right? And then we put our password again. Most of these tools and their issues. Wait, let me log in as root. Clear my screen, sudo openstego. Great. So these tools and their issues. Okay. Desktop. Oh, where is my distance again? Right. Not root. Home. Innocence. Sorry. Downloads. If I'm right. Give me a second. Okay, then file. And then our image. Let's see. Pictures. Then discover. And the output should be, let me copy this part. And then I'll call it net2. Okay, that's PNG. And then if I type it again, and I hide it. Look at that. You see how the process I had to just follow just to hide one. No, it's not difficult. I hope you're still with me. It's not difficult, just that you have to play around with the tools most times. So this is me hiding data now, and then I've embedded one text file, into the PNG file. So now if I locate my net2, okay, if I go to, where did I keep it? Okay, this is it. This one is the first one I was playing with. So this is net2 now. If you look at the size, you will see 184.4 kilobytes. And if you look at this, 183, you see the difference. So we have for net2, 184. Why this original image is 183? Remember this image? So this is the image here. And then it's not pretty, it's a screenshot of my NetDiscover scan. So this is the second image, and that now has our text file embedded within. So if I check the properties, you will see that it's still, this is basically an image, right? A PNG file. You won't even know, right? You won't know. Right? You won't know. See, this is 184. So let's see if I can, extract it out. So let's see. Now, instead of clicking iData, I'm going to click on extract data. Okay. And then I'll select the input table file, which is our input, our PNG, file that has the text embedded within. So now if I select my file and then the output folder for message file. So output folder. So which folder should I put now? For message file. I think this is the folder. Okay, and then we'll put our password 1, 2, 3, 4, just the basic password. And then if I extract, we get message file successfully extracted from the cover file, file.txt. So this is the file within. And then if I go to the image now, I will now see this file.txt appear here. And if I open it, voila, this is our, our very secret random text. So it's as easy as this. So why is this tool useful now? So it's a forensic investigator, can if for example you hide your image, it's tools like this that you can use to extract it out. Sometimes you see there's a space for putting a password or not. If I can still embed these things without putting password, then if I now extract it, it should just extract without the password. That means it's just there. Okay, but this kind of hiding stuff, within image is very, very useful. Okay, it's very, very, very useful to forensic investigators. So this is one tool down. I don't know if you really enjoy this tool, because it works like magic, putting text inside your image, right? It's pretty awesome. So
okay, thank you very
keep
much.
this in mind. This one too. You can read more about this to OpenStego.
Okay, thank you very much, Innocent. Let's allow like 2-3 minutes and see if you have questions with respect to the tool OpenStego. Several alternatives if you want to also do steganography, which is a way for you to do forensics, for you to hide files, is also a way to like either transfer files between two persons. So I could send you an image, but that image is not just an image. It has like in Windows we say alternate data streams. It then means that that particular image has more than one data streams. It's not just one file, so it can contain like more than one file. So you can have an image that have a text with it. You can have a PDF that have a text with it. Okay, let me just share my screen and do a little bit of some more explanation before you get to the next tool. Okay, let me know if you see my screen. QuickStego. QuickStego is another tool that you can use to do steganography. So let me know if you see my screen, QuickStego, so you can just comment in the live chat. So what you should understand is that steganography is the science of hiding messages in such a way that no one apart from the sender and the intended recipient even realizes that there's a hidden message, right? So there are different types of steganography. So you have image steganography. So apart from what was it called? Apart from OpenStego, you can also use QuickStego to do steganography. It works same way. You just open up the tool, you indicate the image, then you add the text to it, then you now hide the file. So if you send that particular image to any other person, they will open it normally like it's an image. But to help whoever that is intended for, the person open up with that same tool, the person able to extract the text message to see the particular message that is intended for that particular person, right? Like QuickStego is another alternative. You just need an XP or a Vista or Windows 11 to run it, and it works same way. Now, another thing you should understand is that there are other aspects of steganography hiding files. So you also have video, you also have PDFs, that is files. We just treated images, and you also have voice, then you also have video. So what we're trying to say is that you have different ways that you can do steganography. So this is just one way. And when we talk about ethical hacking, right? So we say ethical hacking, you're trying to, what's it called? You're trying to get information that, or access something that you have permission for, if it's ethical, and if it's unethical, you don't have permission for it. So we normally say that the stages of hacking is you trying to do reconnaissance, trying to do scanning, trying to gain access, trying to maintain access, then trying to clear tracks, right? So in hacking, steganography is a way you can gain access to files, to like either see hidden files or to extract files that are hidden. So we have executing applications. You have application, let me just say executing app. You have cracking password. There you have hiding files. Then you have, there are two others. So in gaining access, you either execute application, execute a software, you crack a password, you hide a file. So this is one way you can do that. So if you have any questions, you can ask before we move to the next lab. So you can share your screen, Mr. Innocent. Okay, somebody is asking, how do you know a file that has been hidden using steganography has been altered before getting to the intended recipient? That's where hashing comes from. Or rather, that's where hashing plays a good role. So you can use a tool like VirusTotal or Hex, any Hex tool, to check the integrity of the file, because what you're talking about now is data integrity. You're trying to see if the file has been altered. So that is integrity. If you use a tool like a VirusTotal, if you use a tool like VirusTotal, you can check a file, you can upload a particular file and get the hash value. Let me say I choose a particular file now. Let's say I choose Digital Forensic Handbook. So it's going to generate a hash, confirm upload. It's going to generate a hash. That same image, you can actually get the hash value for it. Once you get the hash value for it, that particular hash value should not change. So between point A to point B to point C to point D, we can always be checking that hash value to make sure that nothing was tampered, as it was not tampered with. When you learn from the manual, you learn chain of custody. So chain of custody has to do with you making sure that across the different stages of you collecting the evidence to you presenting it to court or presenting it to top management for any decision making, that the file has not been tampered with. So you can use VirusTotal, you can use any tool to like grab this particular file. So this is the file, right? This is the file. So this file, it's this hash, number should be unique, right? So if I come back and check the hash value for this same digital forensic manual guide I just worked on now, I should still have the same value, right? So that's one way you can know that that particular file has not been tampered with. So that has to do with integrity. Don't forget, In cybersecurity, we talk about confidentiality, integrity, availability, authenticity, and non-repudiation. So let me go over that again. I said in cybersecurity, we say confidentiality, we say integrity, we say availability, we say non-repudiation, then we say authenticity. So in confidentiality, what we're saying is that we want to make sure that it's only the person that should see this information should see it. Integrity, we are trying to say that we don't want people to tamper with the information. Then in availability, we are saying that if somebody needs to see something, then it should be available to that person. You don't want to implement security measures whereby even the person that should see a particular information is difficult for the person to actually see it. Then in non-repudiation, we are saying that people cannot deny that they have sent a message, and people cannot deny having received the message. Then in authenticity, we are saying that we want to be double sure that what somebody says is actually that particular person. So these are what we call elements of information security, right? So the job of a cybersecurity expert is just actually to ensure that he's using people, processes, and technology to ensure these 5 items: people, processes, technology. So in technology, we're talking about tools. In processes, we're talking about how we do stuff, our guidelines, our principles, our framework. People, we're talking about we ourselves, the security analysts. So in digital forensics, most of the times, what we are conscious about is integrity. So if you have any other questions, you can actually ask. Mr. Innocent, you can take it up from there. Okay, somebody's asking, does it have to be the same tool used in embedding to extract the hidden text hidden in it? Yes, it has to be the same tool, right? Because the different steganography softwares work slightly different. So the same tool you use in hiding it should be the same tool you can use to like extract it. I haven't tried using another tool, so you can test it out and see if it's going to work. You can hide something in OpenStego and try to use QuickStego and see if you can open it. But I'm pretty sure from the years I've done steganography, I've always used the same tool and actually use the same tool to like extract it. So if Mr. A used QuickStego to like hide the files, Mr. B at the other end should be using QuickStego to like extract it. So most other persons will not know that that particular file contains a text, right? I think that's all. So Mr. Innocent, you can take it up from there.
Okay, we've looked at OpenStego, and I don't think there's any need to talk about VirusTotal again. Now you've seen VirusTotal.
Okay,
explain this one for us.
Okay, let me just hang on and discuss VirusTotal. Okay, since I've already started using the tool, so let me just use 2 minutes to talk about a few moments to talk about VirusTotal. Now, you know, when somebody sends you a suspicious link, let me just open the file. So this is the tool, right? So if you check very well, it's telling you analyze suspicious files, domains, IPs, URLs to detect malware and other breaches. Automatically share them with the security community. So if you watch the video series on digital forensics, I talked about the intelligence community. Most of the times you see your antivirus software, your anti-malware software, all of those tools that you use to actually do protect yourself. The world has gone beyond doing like trying to know what is bad by actively checking that thing. A lot of that knowledge comes from intelligence. So you have different intelligence platforms like Talos, like VirusTotal, like quite a lot of them, right? If you just Google open source intelligence platforms, you see quite a lot of them. Most of these tools, they use this platform. So if you see if you see a tool and it's going to be a suspicious link and you want to confirm, you can check VirusTotal. If you see a website, you want to see if that particular website is suspicious, you can use VirusTotal. If you have a file, or if you're a web developer, you're a forensic analyst, or you are a regular IT guy, or somebody that is always going to be interacting with files, and you need to know if a particular file is suspicious, all you just need to do is come to virustotal.com. If you hit the link, you're going to see something like this, and you can easily just choose that particular file. So if I'm picking this particular file, for instance, it's just going to generate a hash for it. It's just going to generate a signature for it. It's just going to generate an identifier for it, right? So if I confirm upload, what's going to happen is that it will upload this particular file to the intelligence community. It will do some analysis and check with different vendors to see what they say about that particular file. And if somebody else has seen that particular file before now, right, and gives you a report. So what happens is that you have a signature number for it, which is the hash value. So this hash value in your chain of custody in digital forensics, you can easily come back to check this particular file to see if it has been tampered with. If it has been tampered with, it then means that this file, this number will be different. Even if that particular file, you change a dot, this number is going to be different, right? If you want to test this, another way you can test this is to say MD4, that is encryption, MD4 encryption, and let's say MD4 encrypt. Okay, let me just use this site. If I say my name is Victor and I encrypt, I'm going to be getting this MD4 value. So encryption is a way to like get an identifier or hash a particular file, is a way you do cryptography. So you see this particular file, let me zoom this out, this particular number, Victor in MD4 is always going to be this, right? Victor is always going to be this. If I say Victor full stop and I say encrypt, it's going to be something else, right? So that's how encryption works. So this VirusTotal tool is going to get this particular file for you. So if the file is suspicious, right, you see a score, right? Are you seeing different vendors? Acronis, Aliac, Akabit, AVG, Baidu, Bitdefender, Claim AV. So it has checked through the database of all of these particular vendors, right? Quite a lot of them. All your antivirus softwares, all your security applications and softwares, they use central, look at FireEye. They use central database to be able to tell if a file is suspicious or not. So if a file is suspicious, they can flag it and they can tell you, okay, I think this file is suspicious. So that's a little bit about VirusTotal. So you can use to check for your files, you can use to check for URLs, for IP address, to do digital forensics. For instance, I've encountered situations whereby a website is hacked or a network is hacked and you find a particular IP address. All you just need to do is to come to VirusTotal. So let me get my IP address, So this is my IP address. This is my public IP address. I just need to pick this particular IP address. I go to VirusTotal. I say I want to scan a URL. A URL is actually synonymous to an IP address. So this is a little bit, it might be a little bit advanced for some of us, but yes, an IP address maps to a URL. Okay, let me just explain a little bit further. If I do, let me clear my screen. If I do ping soutechventures.com, it's going to give me 172.67.182.112, right? So you call this domain name server. Okay, welcome Emmanuel from Norway. Welcome Shay from Oxford. Okay, so if I put in this IP address and hit enter, it's going to try to give me intelligence about this particular IP address, right? So this is how it works. So you could use it for IP address, you could use it for files. So when you have a hack or you have a breach, you have an IP address, you have a URL, you have a file, you can start doing some forensics on it. You can be able to tell information about that particular stuff. If we get a result that tells, okay, there's a breach that has occurred with this particular email or rather with this particular IP address, so we can try to trace, okay, see, somebody has searched for this a month ago. So you see, it is clean. If it was not clean, we'll see the result and we can now follow up from there and we can now get more intelligence from that particular IP address. Okay, I think that's a little bit about VirusTotal. So you can explore the tool, and anytime you feel uncomfortable with an IP address or a link or a file, you can just upload it here and see if it is clean or not. Okay, Mr. Innocent, you can write on with the next slide, please.
Okay, we're done with OpenStego and we're done with VirusTotal. So let me quickly open up our next
Okay, sorry
tool.
to cut you. Sorry to cut you. Somebody was asking, even if you rename the file, with the hash change? No, renaming the file doesn't count. What counts is the content of the file, right? The content of the file is what any tool can use to generate a hash for it. You can write on, please, Innocent.
Okay, I think I'll quickly look at Wireshark. Okay, just a little bit of Wireshark because I've explained Wireshark in depth in our previous videos. Okay, so you should really check our videos out. So let me open Wireshark so we see. So if I type Wireshark, if I can type Wireshark, right? And I press enter. So we get this. So Wireshark is a powerful network protocol analyzer. So you can use Wireshark to capture and analyze network traffic. Okay.
We're not seeing your screen yet.
Can you see my screen now? Whoa. Are you still sharing your screen? I think you need to. Okay. Good. Nice. Okay. Cool. So I've opened up my Wireshark. Remember, I'm using Kali Linux. So though you can install Wireshark in your Windows operating system, and I think it should be available for other operating systems too. But if you type Wireshark in your terminal, you get this this nice looking GUI, and then you can choose the interface you want to listen for traffic. You want to monitor your traffic on. So let me just choose my ETH0. Okay, I also. Okay. And now I have traffic coming in. Okay. So basically, whatever I do, I can use Wireshark to see what's going on under the hood. Let me see. I access my websites. I access websites now. Let me put this out of the way. Let me access something like. Should I access? Okay, so let me access facebook.com. As long as my filter is on, I'll be capturing everything, that's to do with both my browsers, my domain names, everything, every connection. Okay, I'll be listening for the connection. I'll be capturing my packets. So Wireshark is a very, very cool tool. Ethical hackers use it, even forensic investigators use it to, to kind of investigate to see how the packet is flowing. Okay. So let me just stop this. So I can okay, it's been capturing on this one. So I can investigate whatever I'm looking for. I can say, okay, what is this TCP connection? If you want to understand more about TCP and UDP, this has to do with networking. Okay. You should really learn those. Check our channel. We have some videos for you to go through. So I'm looking for Facebook, or typically any application at all. I can see some 443 application, and then all these public IPs. So I don't know which site has this, but I can, investigate. I can copy it out. I can investigate the packet and see. So basically, let me just right click and follow. Okay, TCP stream. Okay, this is gibberish. Of course, I think this is 443 encoded 443 HTTPS. So don't be in clear text. Wireshark is very, very powerful. I don't want to start going into the details of why you need to use HTTP over HTTPS. That is, and why you need to use HTTPS over HTTP rather. That is the encryption side of and the security side of HTTP. So Wireshark can help you to differentiate between those, to kind of see how things flow. I think you should watch the video on Wireshark. I don't want to start talking about this again. But as you can see here, this gives you everything, okay? It gives you everything from the timestamp to the source and the destination. That is, the source is my IP address, right? If I show you and I do ifconfig, you will see my, it's a 0 IP, internal IP, 168.155, okay, 128. So if you, with Wireshark, I can work this. So once you say 155.128, so you will see my source. Okay. So yeah, Wireshark is a pretty neat tool. Okay, you can use it to see what's happening. You can see your frame, you can see your IP version 4, you can see your TCP, transport layer, this protocol used here. So yeah, there's a lot you can do with Wireshark. You can take a full course on Wireshark. Okay, so Wireshark is very powerful. There's a lot you can do with it. So I'm not here to show you the tool and the packets. But now it depends on specifically what you want to do with it. If you want to investigate any particular packets, you can do that. If you know what you're looking for, you have to tailor it down to know what you're looking for. Okay. You have to know what protocol you're investigating, right? So I just want to show you the interface of Wireshark and how to just go about it. But you should really, really check. I think Mr. Victor should drop the link of our previous video, so you can go to where I discussed it in depth, where I actually explained the importance of using HTTPS over HTTP, because all those packets can be captured, right? And if you're not using SSL, that is the security in HTTPS, if you don't have it, if you're not using it, and you access the banking site that uses HTTP, your data can be stolen, your credentials can be stolen, because to be in clear text when they capture your packets. Okay, so if you hear hackers talking about capture packets, analyze the packets and those kind of stuff, this is what they're talking about. So all these things are called packets, and you can see them under the hood. On the lower level, you can see how things line up neatly. So this is Wireshark, and then let me go back to the next two. Okay. So basically, there's nothing to talk about here. You can play with it. You can watch our previous video to where I used it, to perform a particular function. Okay. So I want to talk about I want to talk about binary X converter. This is a very, very easy tool.
Okay,
So
okay,
binary.
sorry, before you write on, let me answer a few questions that some persons have asked. Okay, somebody's asking, so if you find out that it's hacked, how do you trace it to know who hacked it and how to resolve it? Okay, let me just share you a few experience I've had, like trying to fix websites or trying to fix. I think there's a series I did on the channel that I think that was a one of our websites that had a hack issue. I think I fixed that website right in class. Now I explained the entire process of you doing forensics to know what happened, and now fixing that particular issue. Now, if you do forensics and you see a particular IP address, or you find out a particular file, let me say, okay, let me give you two examples. Now, there was a time we had one of our clients had his website hacked. Now, we said digital forensics applies to web forensics, email forensics, browser forensic. You can also be doing network forensics. So they are different. Typically, all cloud forensics, all the digital infrastructure that you have, you can do forensics on them. So when you do forensics, you try to know the why and the how. So best peradventure, for instance, in the case study I'm talking about now, you see a particular file after a website has been hacked. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to now start investigating that particular file. You can upload the file to a tool like VirusTotal. You can upload the file to a tool like PestStudio. Let me paste it on the link, PestStudio. Maybe tomorrow I will examine that too, PestStudio, right? So you can upload the tool to PestStudio. It's going to give you, okay, just a second. Let me see if I can grab, let me see if I have the tool installed on this system, PestStudio. Just a second. Just a second. Okay, awesome. Okay, Mr. Innocent, I will share my screen out so that let me share my screen so that I don't know if you can see my screen of the PestStudio, you let me know, please. If you can see my screen PestStudio, let me know. So if you can see PestStudio on the live chat, you let me know. We're trying to look at a case study of you doing digital forensics and you encounter a particular file. Now you want to start tracing the file. Let's say if a website is to be hacked, normally they will create a hack script, upload it to your server or your website and run it and maybe start stealing your files or start bringing your website down or all of those kind of things. But most of the times, at the end of the day, if you're doing the forensics, you are going to see that particular file. So when you are doing forensics now, is that particular file that you are now going to use to now start knowing who was responsible for this file, when did they upload this particular file, and all of that. So let me just explain PestStudio briefly before we move on. Tomorrow, I will have a case study and explain better. Then also on the channel, there's a complete series playlist we have on how to fix a hacked website. I will drop it on the live chat. Okay, now if you can see my screen on PestStudio, what you're going to see is that you see this PestStudio is a tool. Let me say download PestStudio. Right? This is it, PestStudio. It's owned by Winitor. So you have the free version, you have the paid version. So you can use it to do malware analysis, right? You can detect file signature, detect hard-coded URLs and IP address. You see, most of the times when people want to do what we call data exfiltration is a methodology in hacking where people give you a file, you open it, but their goal is to actually extract files from either your system or your phones. Now, the thing is that as a forensic expert or an analyst, if you get hold of that file, you want to do forensics. So you want to know what is the content of that particular file. are they hidden URLs inside that particular file? Take, for instance, you're going to see that when they give you that file and you run that file, you don't know the content of that file. So they might be extracting your information and sending to a particular IP address or logging to a URL within that particular file, which you are not aware of. So PestStudio can help us investigate that. Then collect metadata. So metadata is data that explains data. Then receive manifest, resources, overlays, retrieve scores from virus total. Are you seeing virus total? So you see, there's an intelligence community around all of this stuff. So your tool, there's no best tool because they all share knowledge. So you can download PestStudio. So just go to winito.com/download. You can download PestStudio. Once you download PestStudio, it's something like this. So the next thing I want to do is I want to drop a file here to do forensics for this particular file. Let me see if I can go ahead and look for a malicious file. Normally, I shouldn't be doing that within my environment. I should be doing it in my virtual environment. So, but because of time, let me see if I can get a malicious file for pen testing. Let me see if I can get one. Sample, malicious file sample. For, let me say, digital forensics. Let me see this one. Let me see this one. No, let me see this one. Just stay with me. So in digital forensics, an aspect of digital forensics is malware analysis, where you have a malware, you have an issue, and you are trying to, what's it called? You are trying to know what is behind that particular file. So just a moment. Let me see if I can get a particular file. I want to also keep safe. Download malicious file, malware analysis sample. Okay, malware samples, good. Malware samples, okay, good. So you have this one, exe.zip. You have exe.zip, you have this, Bombamania, 2-point-something MB. Okay, let me download this one. So it's downloading, it's a zip file. I think it's downloaded, good, awesome. So you see already, my browser is saying that it blocked it, it might be dangerous. So it's dangerous. Let me see if it downloaded. Let me, just a moment. Let me pause my screen, just a moment. Let me see if it's downloaded. Did. Okay, it didn't allow it to download. Let me try another one and see if it's going to allow it. Just a moment. Save link as. So now I'm supposed to be investigating. Let me continue my let me continue I'm supposed to be investigating this in an environment that is not controlled. That's to say, in an environment that does not have maybe an anti-malware, like in a virtualized environment. Okay, but let me just use a normal file to do this investigation. You see, my malware tool have already identified it and said that this is a malicious file. So I will close this. I will go back to my tool, PestStudio, and I will pick a file. Let me open a file. Okay, let me download. Let me see if I can pick a software, a small software to examine. On view software, open. So let's say you have a script let's say you have a software, I want to do forensics. Now, somebody asked the question, how do you know who did it and who was responsible for that? So this is PestView in action. Now, if you check, you will see a report on this particular file. You're going to see quite a lot of information about this particular file. So in the past, when I do digital forensics, somebody's asking, how can we secure our system the way your laptop is secure now? So you typically just use an anti-malware or antivirus, harden your system, and make sure your firewall is turned on and you are good, right? Make sure you have your antivirus and it's updated. Because if you have an antivirus or anti-malware and it's not updated, it's not going to get the signatures to be able to tell that something is malicious. So let's get back to PestStudio. So you see that if you see there is an MD5 value for it, there's a SHA-1. So all of these are just different encryptions, right? MD5, SHA-1, SHA-256, and all the rest. So you see the description of the file is on view, person view, online proctoring. The file type is executable. It's 32 bits. It's a GUI. The compiler stamp is this. Then you can start checking. You can start checking the headers. You can start investigating the file and seeing the values, right? So this way you can see files, you can see URLs that are hidden, right? You can start checking the metadata. Okay, this is just the summary. Just a second. You see how this software was built. This software was built using Visual Studio 2003 SDK. Okay, yeah, so this is how it was built. Then let's see the file header. Compiler stamp, this one was compiled. This machine is Intel. What else makes sense? So the idea is that you're trying to look out for links to maybe hackers. You're trying to look out for links or files or URLs within this particular file you're examining. If you see a particular file, if you see a particular URL, you can now start doing further investigation. You can start using tools like Whois. You can go back to VirusTotal to now start examining, what's it called? Start examining that particular file to now see who was behind that, right? So that's the process. So digital forensics is actually a process. It's not something you're just going to start now and going to be done with that because you are trying to know what happened. Now look at VirusTotal. It's clean from all the sources. It's all clean, right? So all of this says it's clean. If it's not clean, if you see a file that is not clean, it's going to indicate it. It will not give you a particular hint on how to now do further investigation of that particular file, right? If you pick that particular hint, or maybe can tell you, okay, it was first discovered by maybe so person, you can now proceed to common vulnerability exploit database, right? You can now proceed to this particular site, right? You can now put, because if in the VirusTotal, if you see that a file is not clean and you see a hint, you can pick that particular hint or that particular vulnerability and you can drop it on cve.metre.org. So you can just come here and search for, where's the search bar again? You can just click on hit search and you can search for the vulnerability, right? And you hit submit. It will give you a detailed record of that particular vulnerability and other information about that and possible ways that you can use in fixing that. If you want to search for common vulnerabilities and exploits in the time past, you can just just a moment. Sorry, a moment. Let me get a list of past record. Let me get my list. Okay, list for a VT record. Oh, trying to get, I want to get a list of all the former, okay, good. All the former vulnerabilities. Just a moment. I'm trying to get the database. So you have a list of all the different vulnerabilities that have happened in the time past. CVE. Where is this guy? Okay, let me just say CVE list 2023. Oh, okay, good. I think this will suffice. Okay, good. So this is a list of different vulnerabilities. So once you get a vulnerability from your PET Studio, doing your forensic, it will have an ID number. Proceed to CVE details, paste the ID number here, then you can see the different vulnerabilities and what happened, why it happened, maybe who was responsible for it, and possible ways you can fix that. Okay, I think, Mr. Innocent, you just pick up one more lab. Which lab are you going to be looking at now before we wrap up for today? If you have more questions, don't forget to drop in the live chat.
Okay.
Let's look at a
Let's
binary text converter before we call it a day.
Okay. Because this system internals, we've actually discussed it also
Yes,
in
I think
depth
it's
in
system
our
internals
previous.
is on the channel.
So you can check it out. Okay. This is the last two. It's actually a web-based tool. BinaryXconverter.com. So okay. So this is what the site looks like. So typically, anybody can use this to actually be it a pen tester, a programmer, or a forensic, investigator, digital forensics investigator. So you can just, if you understand your binary numbers, you know what you're looking for. So let's say you want to convert binary to hexadecimal. You select this, okay, and I say, okay, there'll be a binary value, and I still want to convert quadruple one or 1111, another one. So this should give me FF, if I'm right, if I still remember my binary, right? So this is a decimal, right? So this is basically just conversion, okay? Convert from binary to this so any kind of conversion you want to do. This site is actually great, right? Let's see what other conversions are there. So give me a second. Okay, so you can convert from binary to hexadecimal, binary to decimal converter, to even to ASCII, okay, to octal base 8. Okay, so you can this site actually very useful, anything binary. Okay, of course, computer itself is zeros and ones. So if you really want to understand touch computer at the lower level, you need to understand binary. Right? It's just that simple. So a time will come when you need this, even without being a forensic investigator, but you just want to convert something real quick, to check for, for stuff. So these sites actually very, 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 very helpful. So this is basically, I just wanted to show you these sites because you never know when you need it, right? So I know I use the site often. I use it often. And if you check the guide that was shared on the WhatsApp group, this two is actually there. I think should be the last one there, or second to the last. So it's it's needed. It's needed for if you're working with systems, you're working especially in tech, right? Programming, networking, especially networking, right? Where you want to see your if you want to convert your subnet max, IP address, stuff like that. You should really understand your binary, right? So this is very useful. So you're working with IP addresses and you don't have all those numbers in your head, you can just work with this. So this is all. I don't know if there's any other things not yet explained, but so far this is everything. Okay.
Okay, so if you have questions, don't forget to ask. I've dropped a link on the playlist that has to do with how a hacked website was fixed. For someone that was asking, how do you fix something that is hacked, or how do you resolve it and the rest? So if you watch that series, you find out that there are some files that was traced during the hack. So what you can do is that you can now pick those files and now start doing forensics for those files. So if you pick those files, you can put them on PestStudio, you can get their hex values. You can, for those ones that are hidden, you can come to a converter to put the number and see if you can be able to get the plain text. If you see a hex particular value in Wireshark, you can copy that value from Wireshark, put it in a hex converter to see if you can see the plain text. If you see a file during a hack, you can put it on VirusTotal that we looked at today, and see if you can see a common vulnerability exploit code, and try to look up the vulnerability exploit code to see who is behind it, how it happened, what are some of the issues with it, and all of that. So I think today we looked at quite some tools. We looked at PestStudio, we looked at VirusTotal, we looked at just an intro to Wireshark. If you want a more detailed Wireshark lab, you can check the stream or the videos on the channel. You will see we did, I think, 2 or 3 labs on Wireshark. Then if you have questions that has to do with setting up your lab, fixing Kali Linux, you can ask on the WhatsApp group just after this session now. And we'll use 10 minutes to provide you guide on how to do that. So if you have more questions, tomorrow we're going to be looking at, tell us the tools that you're going to be looking at tomorrow, please. Let us know tools that you're going to be looking at tomorrow. You can just let us know the tools that, you can just mention them. Let us know the tools that you're going to be looking at tomorrow. I think on our list we have, let's hear you, please. Innocent, are you still there? So tomorrow we will dwell a little bit more on PestStudio. We're also going to look at OSINT framework, very important tool. That's this guy here. This guy, we're going to be looking at this very awesome tool for open source intelligence gathering, because there's an awesome link between digital forensics and open source intelligence gathering. When you do digital forensics, you are going to see some files, you're going to see some IP address, you're going to see something. So how do you know who is behind that particular thing? That's where OSINT comes in. So in OSINT, we're trying to use all of the platforms we have online to see if we can know who is behind the particular DNS, who is behind the particular email address, who is behind the particular IP address, and all of that. So tomorrow we're going to be looking at OSINT. We look at PestStudio. I'm going to be looking at PestStudio in more practical terms. Then Innocent is going to be looking at FTK Imager and look at some other advanced autopsy and maybe some other advanced digital forensics tools. So if you are new to forensics, to cybersecurity, on the channel, on the playlist, we have a comprehensive beginner video on cybersecurity. We also have a comprehensive beginner video on networking. We also have a complete series on digital forensics. So please look at them. It will help you understand what the process is like if you want to do digital forensics. So let us know your feedback. How was the training sessions? We'll just allow a few moments for you to make comments on the sessions before we call it a day. Let us know what you gained, what you learned in this session today, please. You can use the comment section to let us know what you learned today. And what you anticipate for tomorrow. If there's anything you want us to touch tomorrow, you can also drop it in the comment section. We will consider that. Okay, Shay, thank you very much for your comments. If you're still there, let us know what you learned so far and what you hope to learn tomorrow. We can see how to add that up to our schedule. Okay, Shay, OSINT, we're going to look at OSINT more tomorrow in great details. We're going to look at some case studies. More comments, please. What you gained and what you hope to look at for in tomorrow's session. Okay, I also see that somebody, I'm trying to scroll up. Somebody was asking a question on how to recover deleted files. So that's where autopsy comes in, NCase, and some other tools. We're going to look at one or two of them tomorrow. So because in digital forensics, at times a particular file can be deleted. So how can you still recover it? So that's where autopsy and some other tools comes in. So look at them tomorrow. Okay, don't forget to also check out the playlist on Hacked website, how a hacked website was fixed. And don't forget that in the file that you discovered during the hack, you can now do digital forensics on those particular files. I think I'll check up if I have some of them so that we can use for tomorrow's hands-on.